IVM.
Hello and welcome to Football Twaddle Fantasy Football Show. We have our friend Rebant back after a long time to discuss fantasy football. What's up, Rebant?
Hey, hi Saru. It's great to be back. And I've
All
been
right.
telling you for a very long time to get me back, but
Dude,
now that
don't go on with the very long time rant here. Football's not been around for 100 days. So it has been long for everything. So let's get to this. The game week, we are recording this midnight while the Manchester City Burnley match is going and Phil Foden has scored. So that's the point we're recording this because we need to put this episode out fast for the next game week. But how is it back, man? How is it back watching football and playing
so
fantasy?
I ended FPL on a very bad note. I used my wild card on the double game week that Manchester City had. It turned out to be a total disaster, but the comeback's been very, very good. I am currently sitting on something like 123 points, around 33 points from the bench boost. So a good use of chip and a good comeback.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to discuss is, a lot of people obviously use this unlimited transfers to fill their teams with players of this double game week. And I think, I don't know what the percentage of teams that have used bench boost, but it seems like quite a lot of them, haven't they?
Yep. So this would probably be the only time you could actually wildcard in a way and play your bench boost at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty unprecedented event. It's like playing your bench boost on the first. I don't think you even can do that actually, for that matter.
So, oh man, it's amazing. So, but now the real thing starts because now you can't make unlimited transfers. You have ended up using one of bench boost, or I know a few people who've done triple captain, right? So now we
Correct.
need to start. So to make a proper team now, you'll see a lot of wildcards being used right now.
Yep. So most people are now wildcarding to get the next set of 6-7 fixtures in place, and most of these players also do have their free hit chip still intact.
Yeah.
So that is a combination I'm seeing at least on Twitter and from friends and family that I interact with who play FPL.
Friends and family, like who's
Like
family
a
of
couple of
fighting?
cousins of
Okay.
mine.
Okay. All right. So let's just go through a few of the games which happened over the last game week, right?
Yeah.
And let's talk about your favorite team, that is Arsenal Football Club, and why, like, why they were trying to play the season out? What's going on there? I purely on FPL stance, I had chosen Aubameyang, thinking that okay, if not against Manchester City, he will definitely do something against Brighton, and he's obviously disappointed me big time. So let me
Yeah.
frame the Arsenal question in a way that are there any Arsenal players worth taking in your FPL team, and what do I do with Aubameyang?
I'm still quite bullish on Aubameyang. I think he's got a couple of good fixtures and you should keep him. But I understand if I can completely understand managers who are frustrated because, 2+2 on a double game week is not the result that you want.
Yeah.
But Aubameyang has a game against Norwich in game week 32, if I'm not wrong. And that's the one you want to target.
So next week, or the one which is starting right now, is game week 31, correct? And then the game
Yes.
week
So
32
it's
starts
32
on
plus,
Saturday.
correct.
Whoa, all right. Man, who is there? Like Leno, what happened to him? I didn't watch whatever happened to Leno, but apparently he's injured, and is he out for the season now?
He is most probably out for the season. There's no official confirmation on what the injury is and what the timeline looks like. So that actually makes, and not to sound insensitive, but yeah, that makes Emi Martinez a very nice option because he's like 4.2 million and a very good bench keeper for that matter.
Yeah,
I
but
wouldn't trust Arsenal to keep a lot of clean sheets though.
I know. So how many points is he going to give? I think my tried and tested thing for this season was to have Ryan and who's the goalkeeper
Pope,
for Sheffield?
Henderson.
Henderson. So Ryan Henderson and a few people keep Pope. Just rotate among these three. Or if you want a little more expensive ones, go the Allison or the Edison route. and just be safe. I don't why. Like, what are you saving with 0.8, 0.9 million? I don't understand. It's not like my great players who I buy with a lot of money do well. So
Yeah, what I've noticed generally is it's best to go with one 5 million and one 4.5. Actually, two 4.5 keepers, I think, from the very start, they pretty much do the trick.
correct. All right.
Because then I wouldn't want to fill my, one spot with a City or a Liverpool goalkeeper.
Yeah, but okay. So now that you brought up that, we know how many changes Pep Guardiola makes to his team, and he's massively disappointed all of us right now as well,
Yeah.
right? So if that being the case, why not choose someone like Ederson, who you know will play week in and week out, and you're probably assured of between 5 and 6 points from a City player for that? Why is that not a bad way to go?
It does make sense on paper right now, but the thing is, I think a lot of keepers, especially someone like say Dubravka, he's got good fixtures, and I think I would rather go with him because there's a save potential as well, which is something Edison seriously lacks. Because obviously, when Manchester City keep the ball all the time, nobody is going to take a shot on their goal.
Okay, what is the save potential you talk about? This is why we need people like you and Jen to come on this show, because you guys maintain
So,
this Excels and everything. Baru and I just happy putting out 11 players.
so three saves give you a single point.
Correct.
So, for example, against Manchester City, Leno conceded 3 goals, yet
He had
he
5 points
ended
or
up with
something,
5
right?
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what is the save potential? Like, is there a metric which people have like actually calculated, or you're just
No,
using the term?
there's no metric as such, but yeah, certain teams will obviously get more shots. They'll concede more shots.
Yeah.
So the chances of their keeper actually saving those will naturally increase. But that also means that there's a chance of them conceding those as well.
I know. I know one keeper whom no one should select because for the save potential, and that's Kepa, because his saving ratio is just so bad. So yeah, one of the other things I've noticed on the weekend is this whole Pogba and Bruno Fernandez partnership. If those two click together, it's going to be some doing to stop them, right?
Definitely. Yep.
And a lot of people have taken Bruno. But do you think Pogba is, now that he's had some minutes on the bench on the field, do you think he seems like a likely starter in the next 1-2 game weeks?
I still think that Bruno is a better pick because he gets to take penalties. I'm seeing a lot of noise on Twitter saying that Bruno and Rashford will share the penalties. While there's no official statement as such from anyone, I do not think that's the case. I think
Bruno is
Bruno
the number one.
handing Rashford the penalty was just a gesture of goodwill since he was coming back after a long injury.
Yeah. Do you also? I get the feeling. I don't know if you get the same feeling now, but Bruno Fernandez seems like the number one man at Manchester United right now.
Definitely. I think, in fact, I was reading the other day. Bruno Fernandez has played 6 matches for United and he's got man of the match in every single one of them.
Really?
Yep.
Man, he's such a good talent. It just annoys me that he went to United. That's all. Uh, a few, 3 other things about the week, about the previous game week before we move to picks is Wolves. Adama Traore, he
Something.
is, yeah, he is really good. And obviously, Wolves are looking at top 4 and they've beaten West Ham 2-0. And who are so if anyone has 1 or 2 Wolves players, they'll do well to just stick with them, right?
Definitely. I think Jimenez is someone you should naturally have. He's nailed on. He's going to play 90 minutes every single game. That's something that severely lacks in Diogo Jota. So Jota is someone who gets subbed off around 60, 70 minute mark.
Yeah.
So I would say spend that extra couple of millions and go for Jimenez. Then the next pick should be Doherty or Doherty, however you pronounce it.
Matt
Again,
Doherty.
yes. Again, slightly expensive option because spending more than 6 million for a Wolves defender sometimes might look like stupidity, but he's got crazy points in the last 5-6 game weeks, including the one played right now and the last 4 that we had before the lockdown came into place.
Man. All right. Few other things. Newcastle beat Sheffield 3-0. I don't know what to make of it because Sheffield is actually quite good defending, or they were before the lockdown. So a lot of players had like Lundstrom, who was on the bench, right?
Yeah.
Which was quite surprising. And obviously they have Dean Henderson, and they generally try to keep one other defender from Sheffield. Being so heavy in defense for Sheffield, I don't know if it's going to work out well or not, given that teams have just come away from a 100-day break and you don't even know if Sheffield is going to get back to that defensive form which they were. Right? I mean, if Newcastle can beat them 3-0, you know they're playing Manchester United next, and after that they're playing Spurs, I think. So I think
Yep.
going a little light on Sheffield is probably a good thing, right? When people are making their wild card entries right now.
I would say if you want to get Sheffield players, probably one single, say someone like Dean Henderson, that should be enough.
Okay, man.
Because, yeah. But then again, Sheffield have a lot to play for. They have, shown quality before. They've had two bad matches. Even the one against Aston Villa, I don't think they were really good, to be very honest.
Yeah.
But the worry is that they are against Manchester United, that is, they are without Egan. Dean Henderson obviously does not play, and O'Connell again is injured. So that's three key players from their backline who are injured. So Bruno Fernandez, Rashford owners, could make a killing in that particular match.
Oh, I somehow see that you didn't use the words Anthony Martial in your description. Why is that?
So, like I said, I would, if I have to go for United players, I would want Bruno Fernandes for sure. Anthony Martial, okay, he's great, and I think he almost scored a goal against who did he play? Sorry, I'm forgetting. Spurs, yeah.
Where Hugo Lloris made a save.
Yeah, he made a great save. But yeah, I'm not too keen on Martial. I do not want to spend another midfield spot on a United player when I already have Bruno.
All right. Before we take a break, which team other than Arsenal were you not at all impressed by in this game week?
Sheffield.
Oh.
So I expected Sheffield to keep clean sheets in both the matches. The first one they did manage to, and unfortunately for them, yeah, there was a legitimate goal that wasn't allowed. But yeah, the game against Newcastle, that was a huge disappointment.
And which team were you impressed by the most?
Most impressed? That's a tough one, actually. I'll have to think about it. But just one game week is not enough to, take a call. But I am actually
we are working on limited data sets here.
Yes, we are. The game ended in a draw. Everton versus Liverpool, but I think Everton assets are something to possibly look out for.
We'll get to that after the break. But why did you watch that game? Did you feel like 2 hours of your life wasted or something?
No, I didn't see it completely from start to end, but I saw a lot of the second half.
Okay, so
that's when the chances also came. Yeah.
So you're saying you just wasted 1 hour of your life?
Yep, 45 minutes.
All right. So we'll take a break right now, and after the break, Rebant, let's try and construct a hypothetical team for me because I need to use my wild card, right? And let's see how do we go about doing that. And while we're doing that, you can give out your picks. And by the way, have you been doing any sort of analysis before the lockdown ended or something?
I actually stopped doing any kind of FPL analysis because what I noticed so I started a lot of FPL number crunching this season itself, and a lot of your past data often since you rely on historical data doesn't turn out to be true for the next few game weeks. And the lockdown was quite long. I was actually expecting it to be something like a month or something like that back then. Obviously, it turned out to be over 90 days, I think.
Okay.
So, or I don't know, I never counted really. But yeah, that kind of a break really put plans in haywire. Like, I didn't really know who to pick. So I went with the usual tried and tested individuals for my personal team, that is.
Okay. Cool. So let's try and see who are these tried and tested names we should be looking forward to from this game week. So please stay tuned to Football Twaddle. We'll come back after the break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. We appreciate their support. It's been a fantastic week on the IVM network. I hope that you've been checking stuff out, but some of the highlights that you definitely should check out. Ashish Vidyarthi, host of Begin the Journey, was on Cyrus Says. They had a really fun conversation. I think you'll enjoy that. Uncle Please Sid did an episode around development, which was really, really fun. On Edges and Sledges, we had Adam Holyoke, former England captain. While those guys are killing it, one cricketer after the other. Definitely do check out Advertising is Dead. We talk about esports with some really guys who really know that space. Smile India, absolutely right. These guys are killing it as well. So is Pawan at Pragati. Don't forget the original things. Again, one of my favorite shows. You must check that out. It's just been a really fun week, folks. So I hope that you enjoy it. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Hello, welcome back to Football Twaddle Fantasy Football Show. Rebant, what's up?
Hey, good to be back again.
All right, so let's do this quickly and let's do it as fast as possible because I don't want my editing guy to cry in the morning and we need to put this out, right? So the next game week is basically Leicester, Brighton, Spurs, West Ham, United, Manchester United versus Sheffield United, Newcastle, Aston Villa. Oh, that's an interesting one. If you choose rightly, we'll get some points there. Norwich, Everton. I'm assuming you're going to say Calvert-Lewin is one of the guys I need to put in the team. Wolves, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Watford. Where's your team? Arsenal. Southampton, Arsenal, and Chelsea versus Man City. Okay? But as you said, I think before the break that we need to construct a team for about 3 to 4 weeks if people are using their wild cards, which I'm assuming most of them are going to do. So let's start with the basic question. Which are the teams which have relatively easy run-ins towards the end of the season?
Okay, so Spurs have a great fixture list. United have a great run of fixtures again. And Everton. These are three teams I think have the best fixtures of the lot. And there are obviously some great picks in between these three teams. I think if you're looking at Everton and you are on the lookout for a very budget defender, Mason Holgate is there, 4.3 million. That's a steal deal right there. And he has been starting. Calvert-Lewin proved that he was getting into form before the lockdown as well. And even against Liverpool, he did look, nice in patches. And lastly, Richarlison. And I see this, I've seen this in the last 3 seasons, I think. Richarlison is always, in the list for the top 5-6 midfielders based on points. And so I looked yesterday whether that was true this season. And funnily, he's on the 5th position for the top
midfielder
in the midfielders. Yeah.
Okay, so and since we're talking about Everton play Norwich this game week. The next game week they play Leicester, and the game week after that they play Spurs, right?
Yeah. So if I am wildcarding, right, Tottenham is one team I think you can score against, so that should not be a problem. Leicester is at home again. Now, I obviously do not know how big a difference home and away make right now since there are no fans.
Wait, we can check that also. We know in Bundesliga it didn't make really that much of a difference.
And but the sample set is too small.
I know, but the number of home wins in this game week is 1, 2, 3, and 4 out of like what 14 games or something. So so just let's continue with the assumption that we don't think that the home thing
it makes a difference.
Yeah
I still think so. Norwich is a lottery. I think you could make a lot of points from that one particular fixture alone. If you are lucky, you make something out of Leicester, and I'm positive that Tottenham should not be that big of a challenge because
they do concede goals now. I don't think that they are. So if you're saying that, if you're saying that we should look at Everton players irrespective of the fixtures, I think that kind of makes sense.
Funny stat, but Spurs have actually conceded the same number of goals as Arsenal before this game week came into play. So now Arsenal obviously, is I think we conceded 2 goals. So Arsenal is now 1 goal, have conceded 1 more goal than Spurs. But it's tight up there between these two North London teams.
All right. So let's not speak about goalkeepers, I think, which we did in the last section. Let's talk about defenders. A few defenders to look forward to in putting in teams is, I think we said that Sheffield, if you have Dean Henderson, you shouldn't have anyone. So one of the options you gave was Holgate, right? Who,
Yep.
if you could give one more cheap option for a defender, who would that be?
Another cheap option would be Roman Sais from Wolves again. I'm so sorry if someone's listening and the pronunciation is messed up. So again,
Size.
yes,
Roman
he
size,
is.
no?
He is again 4.6 million. He's been starting regularly before and now again. And he has a bit of a goal threat in him as well. I was looking at his numbers the other day. So I think you could actually double up on your Wolves defense as well. They have great fixtures again. Lots of greens, some greys, and they end their run against Chelsea away.
Okay.
That's the only traditionally tough fixture. And
Cool.
Arsenal has been downgraded from a 4 difficulty to a 3. So that
Really?
becomes a great, yep, for real.
No, what I meant was I was surprised it's only 3. I thought it would be more than that. All right, so we have Roman Sayers and Mason Holgate. I mean, I'm just going to make my team based on what you say. I'm not going to put my head to it. So
then I would actually suggest if you do not have Matt Doherty, then that should be the first name going in for the backline.
So I'll put one Sheffield defender, I'll put 2 Wolves defender and Holgate. Ho gaya, khatam.
And Alexander Arnold. That is a compulsion. I hope that he's there.
He's 7 million or something, dude.
7.8, I think, or something.
7.1, 7.2, I think he is. But why would I do?
He's gone way. He's 7.8 right now.
What are you saying? Oh my God. Is he like the most expensive defender in the history of FPL?
I think I remember Leighton Baines being 7.5. Did he go on to go up till 7.8?
I don't think so. Okay, let's talk about midfield. We've spoken of Bruno Fernandez. Before we talk about specific names, what to do with Pep's substitutions? He is going to slaughter us through the season, till the end of the season. So how do we mitigate that?
So I think the best way... So you have to understand they really don't have anything to play for as such. In the Premier League at least, apart from, a prestige, if that makes sense. If I had to keep one midfielder, that would have to be Kevin De Bruyne. He didn't start today, I know, but he should start going ahead. But yeah, I think we should start accepting these odd and random benchings here and there. There's nothing you can do except have a idle backup just in case, he doesn't start at all.
One of the things for City in the next 2 game weeks is they play Chelsea and then they play Liverpool, right? So it's not going to be that easy. Like even let's say we put Kevin De Bruyne against Chelsea, probably he may provide an assist and score a goal. With Liverpool's defense, I don't expect him to do more than that. So is it okay for the next 2-3 weeks, like remove KDB or don't put any of the City players and just like move on?
I would say if your team already has KDB, then it's best to just keep him. His value's gone up pretty high. You wouldn't want to, get him back again by paying that extra premium.
Okay.
So take the risk on Chelsea. I think he can score well in that particular game. Liverpool, like you said, should be an even match. Well, we can't really predict. For all one of the team actually, completely demolishes the other. Unlikely, but could happen. But the games after that, they are a sight to behold. Now, again, the question is, will KDB start those? Being Pep, you really never know.
No, I get the point. I get the point of keeping KDB in your side. I'm saying that let's say for the next 2 game weeks, if you remove KDB, you can probably have like midfielders of 7 to 8 million range because you're not putting $11 million midfielder somewhere, sticking him in between there, right? And after next 2 game weeks, when City has an easy fixture, take the risk on KDB.
That is a viable strategy, yes.
Okay.
KDB right now is someone you really don't gain rank when he scores, to be being very honest over here.
Because everyone has him.
Yeah, but if you do not have him,
you lose rank.
You lose rank like crazy.
All right, I get your point. One of the player whom everyone has taken, but I think we should seriously have a think about it, is Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is almost assured of a move out of Aston Villa, even if they get relegated. And the way their last 2 games have gone, they look like, okay, they're going to get relegated now. So you may see a serious drop off in form. So I don't know
Yep.
why people are still like enamored by Jack Grealish. I think they should be like re-looking at putting Jack Grealish in their team.
If you have Jack Grealish, like at least I have Jack Grealish, I am already looking for replacements.
Okay.
Harvey Barnes is someone I've looked at. He's 6.2, I think. So not too expensive. Adama Traore, again, I've thought of him, but the fact that, he will get minutes off the bench more often than not, that doesn't excite me a lot. Mason Mount, again, I think that's a good pick. He looked lively the other day as well.
Yeah,
So
but Mason Mount, at least for not the next game week. Mason Mount is not one of those expensive players whom, who you need to budget for. You can easily replace some midfielder and get Mason Mount in. Oh, and this name, Ismaila Sarr.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, dude, his face is like something altogether, like Adama type face. I think he should do well.
He should do well. He's at a good price point as well. And the best thing about him is his ownership is quite low.
Yeah.
So he's got Burnley and Southampton up next. Those are two fixtures I think he can score. Then comes Chelsea. Again, I do not think Chelsea has a great defense, so he can score. And then a run of green fixtures in Norwich, Newcastle and West Ham.
Yeah, and by then Watford may have secured promotion as well.
Exactly. They end really tough with City and, okay, not tough. Arsenal is the last game, so I take my words back. But yeah.
All right. Okay, and so are you going to pick any Liverpool players, or you're like not too keen on them right now? Because he's just, I don't really start anymore.
I'm very confused on Liverpool. So I already have Alexander-Arnold. I removed Mane, and I removed Mane when I was, tinkering around with my team for this game week. But again, the question is, do I go ahead with the risk of playing without Mane? That's a tough one, to be very honest. And if he scores, or even if Salah scores, if one of them scores, you lose out on rank big time, because again, everyone has them more or less. So that's a tough one. And the thing over here is that Liverpool will probably secure the title by game week 30. In fact, I think if they win against Palace and City, they win the title at Etihad. Now, whether Klopp starts his main players after that, that's a question that needs answering. We obviously don't have that right now.
Yeah. Oh, so the one guy on FPL writes, I used triple captain on Mane for 1 point before lockdown, and I used captaincy on Aguero after lockdown, and I watched Aguero limp off. I missed FPL.
This is what FPL is about. In fact, I'm not surprised this happened. That's a risk you have to take when you're taking Manchester City players. And I remember very well, I took Laporte, De Bruyne and Sterling, thinking that these three, I only took them because I thought they were the most nailed on players. Like, they're bound to play both the games.
And then you got screwed in that.
And I got screwed bad.
All right. Should people look at any of the Manchester United defenders as well? We have one Bruno in the midfield, but how about Aaron Wan-Bissaka or someone like that?
Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a good option. I think offensively very limited in the sense from not just FPL, but even in reality, I don't really think he's got that knack. What someone like Alexander-Arnold can do. But at the same time, his tackling, potential, metrics, whatever you want to call that, that really gets him into those bonus points very often. So again, a very interesting pick, Wan-Bissaka. This year, slightly, priced was higher than last year when he was at 4 million. So he was an absolute steal back then.
Yeah. Okay, man. So last two questions of the Fantasy Football Podcast. Who is the player, according to you, who will... Let's actually keep this metric very simple. Who will get the most number of points? Which player in the coming game week?
In the next game week?
Yes.
I think... Actually, I was going to mention this. I forgot. So I've got a couple of names. 3 names, actually. Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison, I think, could end up with a decent number of points. One name which we didn't mention at all on the pod, Danny Ings. Ings is against Arsenal.
Arsenal, yes.
And he's playing in Arsenal without Leno, who was saving our ass, but whatever. I'm not sure if it's allowed to be. I can use that word.
You can say anything.
ठीक है. Perfect. So yeah, Arsenal defense, huge cause of concern. Arsenal midfield, huge cause of concern. There's absolutely no creativity in the midfield, no goals in the midfield. And defensively also, I think the team is very, very weak. So Danny Ings could actually be someone who scores a couple of goals. I wouldn't be surprised he ends up with like a brace or something like that.
Cool. Even I was actually thinking of Danny Ings as soon as I asked the question. And who should the captaincy options be? Then, according to you, the captaincy should be for Danny Ings or for Richarlison or something like that, right?
So I think based on where you are, what your ranking is, you'll have to play it like that. So if you've got money and you want to protect your rank, say you're in the top 10,000 or top 50,000, I think I would just go ahead with the safe option in Mane and press that button.
My rank is 3 lakh. What do I do?
I would say captain one of the Everton boys or Ings probably if you have him.
Dude, if we are not impressed with Sheffield and we say Bruno is important, how about captaining Bruno? He may give us like 22 points.
Bruno is definitely a good shout because City have got a lot of United have got a lot of dribblers in their team. They've got pace. I would not be surprised if they get another penalty. And Bruno has a knack of taking shots as well. That's always encouraging.
Yes, man. I'm giving such good tips, which even you're calling them as good shouts. I think I should just go and change my team right now. Have you made changes to your team yet, or you'll make them tomorrow?
I actually got in Calvert-Lewin. Now I'm thinking whether I should take a negative and bring in Mane as well for Sterling. Now that's a decision I'll take tomorrow morning.
Yes, but for others, you need to listen to our podcast and then make your decisions, because otherwise you'll just make all stupid decisions. So we don't want you to do that. Rebant, thanks a lot for doing this pod. And for people may not realize we are recording this at 1:45 in the morning, right? So the thing we have to do to put this podcast out as soon as possible. So listen to the podcast as usual. Leave your feedback on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram is Football Twaddle, and Twitter is @Footy Twaddle. I'll put Rebant's handles as well in the show notes, so you could see that. Rebant, thanks a lot, man, for doing this.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. So see you soon. So
hopefully I come back with the top 10,000 rank or something like that.
Dude, even if you're like 40,000, no problem. Come back. I won't look down upon you.
Right now I'm struggling around 90. So let's see.
Oh, you're at 90,000. Dude, that's not bad, man. That's really good.
My rank before this game week was 2.5 lakhs. So huge comeback.
What more you want in life? Yeah, you come back on the podcast. You come back in rankings. It's a great comeback week for you. All right. Thanks a lot, Rebant.
Thanks.
Okay. And take care, you listeners, and have a happy game week. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.
Did I just catch you on your way to work? Or did you end up pulling an all-nighter? Let me guess. You have a packed schedule for the day, the week, and probably the month and the year. That's a lot for your mind to handle, don't you think? This buzzing chaos also brings tons of negative thoughts. Am I right? Try spinning that bottle in a positive direction with me, Chetna, on the Positively Unlimited podcast, every Monday on IBM Podcasts. It's time to change your life one alphabet at a time.